joining to this cybersecurity workshop. Can you still see the presentation? Okay, it seems we lost the presentation, so let me share it again. Thank you very much, Devika. There we go. Right, so you should be able to see the presentation now. If somebody could confirm on the chat, that would be perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Just also to make you aware of this, the materials that we're going to be covering in here, they are coming from two courses that were developed by Cisco through the Cisco Networking Academy Program. And they are mainly the Cybersecurity Essentials and the Introduction to Cybersecurity courses. Of course, they have been adapted for you to meet the needs of this specific audience, and hopefully that information will be useful for you. Just have in mind that any reproduction or unauthorized use of this material is strictly prohibited. You can use it for awareness purposes. So if you want to share the information and create awareness in the terms of cybersecurity and the elements that we're going to be discussing in these sessions, then by all means, you're free to share the information. But if you're going to use it for other purposes, then please get in touch. So I started chatting, but I never introduced myself. I do apologize. I'm Dr. Erica Sanchez. I'm a senior lecturer at Anglia Ruskin University, and my area of specialty is computer networks and cybersecurity. As you could have probably guessed, I'm not from the UK. I come originally from Mexico. And I've been working in this area of computer networks and cybersecurity for over 15 years now. Mainly, I, of course, do research in the topic. I'm a lecturer in the topic, but I also try to create awareness through this type of workshops with industry, and especially now that cybersecurity is quite a big topic, and hopefully something of interest for all of you, and something relevant for everybody, not only from a point of view of an organization, not just because we work in an organization, we have to make cybersecurity a priority or security a priority. We need to make security a priority as well in our daily lives, as we will discuss and comment and talk about it during these sessions. Okay. Right, so as I said, a bit of housekeeping. So I'm not quite sure if you are familiar with the use of Teams. Hopefully at this point, after 6 months of working from home, you all have been using Teams before and you are familiar on how to use it. But if not, then just make sure that you can find, if you hover on top of your Teams screen, you will be able to see this menu. It will appear where you have your controls for your video, you will have your control for your microphone, but more importantly, you will have access to the chat. Yeah, so I'm hoping to see lots of interaction through the chat. If you have any questions, then hopefully you can use it. As I said before, if you have a question or a comment, please make use of the chat throughout the sessions. Now, I know that I'm asking you to mute your microphone, but if by all means you want to ask your question, because it's easier than typing it, if you want to ask the question using your microphone, then please don't worry, unmute yourself or raise your hand, and I will be able to answer your question and to hear your question. This is not necessary, but when you're using the chat, sorry, it might be my microphone, Irene, because I have it too close. Hopefully now it's better, but thank you. So if you want to start your questions with a Q so that I know that it is a specific question, or to isolate them and separate them from comments. You could also use the thumbs up when somebody's asking a question, so I know that it's relevant to you, and I can pay better attention to that. Thank you very much, Irene. It's better the sound. If you want to reply to somebody in a specific, you can type the @ and then start typing the name of that person, and that reply is going to go specifically to that person, and an announcement or a notification will come to them. Okay, and please do take in consideration that everybody can see the chat. So whatever you type in there, it can be seen by everybody else. No. As I said before, to use a microphone, raise your hand. Again, it appears when you click on these buttons, so these dots, these 3 dots that appear in the menu, and then you have your hand. No, so you can raise your hand. I will get a notification, and I will know that somebody has a question. So I can ask you to unmute yourself and ask your questions. Okay. Right. So in terms of housekeeping, I'm hoping everybody is okay. So let's see some hands showing if you know how to use the. Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much. Now lower your hands, or otherwise I will think that you have some questions. Is there any questions so far? I mean, it's just an introduction, just housekeeping. Brilliant. Right, so let's get to it, and let's get to the topic on why you are here today. So the idea of this workshop, the cybersecurity workshop, is to introduce you to the topic. I'm not quite sure how familiar you are in terms of cybersecurity. Matthew says, I can't raise my hand. Okay, that's fine, Matthew. If you can send me just a message, if you have any questions, then I will check. But thank you very much for letting me know. Yeah. So as I was saying, so the idea is, first of all, to make you aware of what cybersecurity is. I mean, I know little about the audience. I know little about your background, the type of role that you have within your organization. So I need to understand what is your role, okay? And so we're going to start with something quite general, giving you the introduction to what cybersecurity is, and make sure that we all understand what we are talking about. But also it will help me this session to make sure that I understand your understanding of cybersecurity. So how much you know right now. And as I said before, this is not just to help you within your organization and understand how you help your company to improve security and to make sure that you have security, but also in your daily lives, no? Because we're going to talk about how life has changed even in this year, or the way that we carry out our daily lives. But the purpose itself on the whole workshop is, as I said before, to understand your role within the organization and what you can do to improve cybersecurity, considering as well 2 specific topics that became very relevant in the last years, which is precisely Brexit. So how is Brexit going to change the way that we are doing business, specifically in the topic of cybersecurity? And second, of course, COVID-19, and what we are living right now, how it has changed things and how it's impacting cybersecurity. So we're going to go through that. But today, as I said, I'm going to focus on the basics, understand who is attacking us, why they're attacking us, and what can we do to protect, starting from ourselves and the way that we conduct our daily life online, and then that will be transferred into how our companies carry out or have security as well. Okay, so that would be how we do it, or what we're going to do. Hold on, I have some people joining us. So as I said before, at the end of this session, hopefully you will understand why cybersecurity is so important, recognize good online security practices, identify the elements needed to achieve cybersecurity, which is very related to the previous point, and be more cybersecurity aware. but specifically to know the role that you are playing, how important you are to make sure that we are achieving a cybersecurity. Okay, so sorry, I'm just admitting some people into the room. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with a quiz. Okay, so the first activity of the day is for me to know how cybersecurity aware are you. And for that, we're going to be using Kahoot. I'm not quite sure how familiar you are with Kahoot. So the only thing that you need to do is to go to this URL. I'm going to copy it into the chat. Okay. So open it in your browser. Hold on. There we go. You should see the link in your browser. Sorry, not in your browser, in the chat. It's going to ask you for a PIN number. You don't have to install anything. Just go directly to that website. It's going to ask you for a PIN number to enter the game. You just need to provide with that number, and it's going to ask you for a nickname to join the quiz. You can give your name or not, because we're going to show the answers. Not who had it wrong or who had it right, but just an idea on who has all the correct answers. So I see some people already online. Thank you very much. Are joining the quiz. So let me check very quickly how many I should have joining us in here. And in the meantime, if you could join us in Kahoot, that would be great. So we have 17 connected, and I have 12 in Kahoot. So I'm just going to give you a few more, 1 minute to connect. I know that maybe it is too soon to start with a quiz, but it's just for me to see how much you know about security and how cybersecurity aware you are, and yes, and make sure that what I am covering in this workshop is relevant to you and your role. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 12 then that join us. Okay, so it's 16 questions. You're going to see the question there. You just need to choose the correct answer according to the color that you will see. It's quite easy to use. So let's check it. Let's see the first question. And that's the name of the quiz. And we're going to start with the first question. So what is the generic term of the programs that can create problems on your devices? Okay. So the options are malware, damaged droids, root bots, and dangerware. Okay, excellent. So all of you know that is malware. So that's very good. Then I know that you understand what malware is, and then I don't have to spend that much time on that. Okay, so the VK is on first place. Let's see. What is a spyware? So this is a type of malware, but what is the purpose of the spyware? Okay. So in here we do have some maybe unsure on what the concept is. So yeah, spyware is software that is installed with the purpose of collecting data from your computer. Okay. We will see the other options when a cybercriminal takes on your identity. That's identity theft, and when a website is selling personal data, well, that's just your data has already been stolen. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Doc is coming on to the top. So let's see, question number 3. What is phishing? Yeah, is it a pleasant weekend activity by the river? Is it a computer virus? When somebody is trying to attack your wireless network? Or when criminals impersonate a trustworthy source? Yep, so again, a bit of confusion on that term. I'm happy to see that nobody chose the pleasant weekend activity by the river. That would be phishing, but spelled in a different or written in a different way. But yeah, phishing is when you receive an email that is impersonating somebody else. And we will talk more about it in the next 3 days that we're going to be together. Now, where criminals try to hack into your wireless network, that's just hacking, no, a wireless hacking. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Doc is still on the lead. Let's see. Which of these is an example of a phishing email? So now we know that phishing means that it's trying to impersonate something that you trust. So from these options, which ones are an example of a phishing email? All of the above. No, if you receive an email of you have won the lottery, please click on this link to claim. That's somebody trying to get you to click. Your bank account has been compromised. Again, another one. So all of you were right, but the correct answer is all of the above. No, all of them are examples of phishing emails. And we will talk again more a bit about that and how to protect on that one in a minute. When do you need to use antivirus software? Just when you buy a first computer, all the time on your laptop, all the time on your web connected devices or internet connected devices, or as soon as you feel unwell. Yes, so it's not only on your laptop and it's not only on your desktop, it should be in every single device that you have, even your mobile device. No? So that's quite important. I'm just checking at the chat. I think I have a question. In the meantime, I'm going to go to the next question. Yeah. So which of these is an indicator that a website is secure? The web address starts with HTTPS, and that's something that we don't regularly check. So if you check in here in Kahoot at the top of the website, I can see a lock and the HTTPS. So that means that the information is being encrypted. Okay. Don't trust the URL when it includes the company name and shows the company logo. Sometimes, as we will see later on, hackers are so good at impersonating websites that even the name of the company looks valid as well as the company logo, but it doesn't mean that it's the company itself. Now we will see some examples in a few minutes. So next one, number 7. Which of these was not one of the most common passwords of 2019? One more answer. Okay. Yes. So hello is not one of the most common passwords of 2019, but you will be very, very surprised to see that the top 10 actually include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, QWERTY, and password. Even in 2019, I think the list of the first quarter of 2020 has been released, and these passwords, except for hello, are still the number 1 or the top 10 passwords being used to protect accounts. Okay. And again, we will talk a bit more on that. Just very quickly, Gerard, I finally managed to check my chat. It's quite slow, my computer, so I do apologize. So Gerard is asking if do I need antivirus software on a Mac? Yes, 100% yes. So there was a belief that Macs were 100% secure. But no, on the contrary, the reason why the Macs were secure at some point is because there were little viruses created for this type of operating system. But now it's quite common. So yes, my suggestion is definitely, I have a Mac, most of my devices are Apple, so you do need an antivirus software, okay? Question number 8. So what is the best password security policy? So how should you create your passwords? Excellent. Never use the remember password option. So that one was a bit tricky because it's not actually telling you how to create the password itself. It's just telling you a good security policy for a password. Well, if you check the rest of the options, those are very bad policies. Use the same one for all your accounts, something personal or your pet's name. That's a big something to avoid. Have a selection of different passwords written somewhere. Again, that's something that you shouldn't do. So the best option is never use the remember password option, use different ones. And we will talk about the way that you can do it because I understand that it's very difficult to keep a list of passwords, okay? And so next one, which of these is the most secure Wi-Fi network name? Thank you, Pamela. That's fine. If you could answer still the questions on your own and just check the correct answers and see how cybersecurity aware you are, that's fine. Thank you for letting me know. So it doesn't really matter. Some people believe that just because you use a very complex name for your wireless network, then it means that you're making it secure. But it actually doesn't matter. That's just the one that identifies your network. Okay, so you can call your network whatever you want, but it's the way that you join the network. If you're asking for a password to join the network, yeah, that's going to be quite important. Okay. Excellent. So Doc is still on the lead. So if somebody wants to knock him down of the first position, and which of these is the least risky to talk about on social media? So what do you talk about in social media? Your exciting holiday plans, how cute your pet cat Snowy is, what you had for your quiet Sunday lunch at home, your new phone number. So which one is the least risky? So interesting. Some of you, half of you chose how cute your pet cat Snowy is. Now, why is that a big no when talking in social media? Because then hackers can use that information to try to guess your password. So how many of you are using the name of your pets as a password or a combination of, or perhaps not even as a password, but as a security question that your bank has? Okay, but I'm sure that not many of you use your what you had for lunch on a Sunday as a password. No, you try to use things that are more personal. So that's why that's the least risky. Although it doesn't mean that it's not risky at all. Okay. 5 more. So just bear with me. So what do you think most children spend their time online doing? So what do you, if you have kids or grandkids, so what do you think they are doing mainly online? Spending your money, trying to hack into accounts? Yes, definitely. No, children spend most of the time using websites and so on for social media, games, surfing. So that's why it's also really important that you become cyber aware, no, and understand how you can protect your kids or those more vulnerable, so we can keep them safe. Okay. So let's see. Which of these security questions might your bank ask you over the phone or via email? So when you call your bank, what do they usually, or when your bank calls you, what do they usually ask you for? Excellent. Yes, they ask you to confirm your home address. They shouldn't be asking you for something else. Perhaps your security questions, just to verify your identity, um, but that's it. No, no passwords to try to log in to your bank card PIN number. So that's good. I'm very happy to see that the majority of you, if not all of you, are very cybersecurity aware and know exactly what not to do. Now you've decided to reset your password. Which is best one to use? So which one do you think is the most secure password? Interesting. And this comes from a boom in cybersecurity awareness where experts were saying try to use, and even in your security policies, combine special characters with numbers, capital letters, etc. But that has been hacked. No, hackers know that now you're using that. So we will see later on that the best password to use is um, a phrase that is easy for you to remember, but the important thing in here is the length of the phrase. So the longer, the better. Okay. So as I said, we're going to talk about that one in here. So for that one, the majority of you went for the special characters ones. Now you're leaving your office for the day when you see a USB stick on the floor or a USB drive. So what do you do with the USB drive? Do you take it with you? Do you connect it to your computer to see who is the owner? Do you leave it there? Did you hand it in into reception? So what do you do? Okay, so I think we lost some participants. But yeah, some might say you can leave it where it is not your problem. That might be an issue because um, then somebody else will find it and somebody else will connect it. Maybe they are not as cybersecurity as aware as you are. So the best thing to do is to give it to somebody in reception, warn them and tell them, do not connect it to your computer, perhaps so they can pass it on to a cybersecurity expert or IT services and they can deal with it, or your IT department. Okay. Two more. So your computer has been infected with ransomware. If you know what a spyware is, then you should know what ransomware is. And they are asking you for £1,000 to release your files. So what do? You get in touch with the IT support, or well, send an email to IT support. Yes, you disconnect from the network. Why not sending an email to the IT person? Because probably what you're doing is you're spreading the malware to the rest of your company. Okay, if you leave your computer connected, then it means that you're giving the chance to the software that was installed in your computer to be able to hack into other devices. So the best thing to do is to just disconnect your computer from the network. Okay. And final question. So you want to purchase some concert tickets online, but the website is not working. What is the most common reason why the website is not working? Seems to be there, seems to be reacting, but it's not responding. So what type of attack do you think it would be? Yes, so that's known as a distributed denial of service attack, which we will cover later, I think in the second day of our workshop. Um, but it is not a type of program that is being installed in your computer. Is an attack that is being performed using other computers. Okay, so well done to Matthew in third place. I mean, we don't have to look at this, but the Vika and of course Doc, I think he kept the first place. Yes, Devika, you tried to catch Doc, but he was very quick with his answers. But well done. I mean, I think if I check the answers, um, to be honest, you did quite well. You're very good at cybersecurity. So this gives me an idea on on how well you know things. Now, it might be that I know that only a few of you participated. So it might be that some of you still have questions on why certain options there were not the correct answer. That's precisely some of the things that I'm going to cover. Okay. But it's good to see that you are already aware of cybersecurity. Okay. So let's begin, unless you have some other questions. Thank you, Catherine. He's congratulating Doc for his results. So I'm going to move into the second presentation, where we are going to start talking about the world of experts and criminals, more in depth on what cybersecurity is. If you have any questions, as I said, please use the chat and I will make sure to, I'm keeping an eye on both of them and I will definitely answer your questions in there, okay? Right, so what I'm covering, sorry, in here is, first of all, define what cybersecurity is. It's interesting that you ask people why cybersecurity and what cybersecurity is, and not many people knows the answer. So first of all, why cybersecurity? Is it really an issue? What exactly are we protecting? Who exactly is attacking us? And well, more importantly, why they are attacking us. And we will see this perhaps combined in the different slides of the presentation. So yeah, so that would be a good way of learning these topics. Now, Rowena is asking if you can share this quiz. Absolutely. What I will do is I'll share with you towards the end of this session the link, because this was taken as well from other online quizzes where you can check your cybersecurity awareness. There are thousands of questions in there online that you can check and check many different elements. So yes, I will share it with you, Rowena. No issues at all. So you can pass it on. No. Okay. So let's start. So why cybersecurity? Is it really that bad? No. Is it really an issue, cybersecurity? So what do you think? Is it really a problem? Raise your hands, or better perhaps in the chat, because it's easier for me to monitor the chat. Has any of you been a target of a cybersecurity attack? Have you had a virus? Have you had your bank account hacked? Okay, so 3 of you have said yes because you raised your hands. I saw Matthew, and so Matthew has received a phishing attack. Rowena, you also raised your hand. Came close with a banking phone call, so you have received these phone calls. Excellent, but it's good to know that you didn't fall into this. And what about the rest of you? Phishing emails and virus, Angela says. Okay. All right, so I'm guessing the ones that are quiet means that it has been fine. Geoff says, I had an attack on email demanding my help with some money. Received lots of phishing. And I think Ola has a question. Hold on, Ola, if you want to unmute yourself, if you know how to unmute. You want me to unmute? Yes, Ola, hi.
Yeah, I just raised my hand to show that I've been a victim.
Okay, so what happened to you?
I just kept getting emails, copying my own email.
Yes.
My own email, they keep sending the same email
To you.
that's coming from the same. So I find it a bit weird. So I always delete it.
Yes. I mean, sometimes it can be your own email provider that what it's doing is sending you a copy of your own email, so you are aware that of that email you sent. It's really weird. It depends on the policy of your companies. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And thank you very much for sharing it, Ola. Sorry, and I keep looking at the other screen when I should be looking at this one. So thank you very much for sharing it, and thank you to all of you. So Rowena, your bank account was hacked. Mine as well. Not my bank account, but my credit card was the details were stolen. Pamela, your mom had her identity stolen. That's quite a big issue, which we will talk about in here. Business had to shut down. That's really, really serious. I'm sorry if I'm gonna call you by 44365. I'm not quite sure what your name is.
Hi there, it's my name's Hans. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you
yeah.
very much. So your business had to shut down.
I can't go into too much detail, but I used to work for Astrium,
Okay.
which is space, and
Okay.
we had to shut down the whole of our European operations,
Wow.
and UK GHQ were involved,
Mhm.
and it was a foreign nationals who had actually got in and were removing, without us knowing, secret information from
Wow.
search files. So
Yeah.
we had to completely shut it all down and take some of the beacons out of the system.
Wow. And when was this? When in which year was this?
About 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing. That's really interesting, and that's a very good question, Catherine. How could it happen? And that's what we're going to talk about in here. And as I said, what we're going to talk about in here is not only for your companies, because I know that as business you want to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. And this example was the best example that we could have, because usually when I ask this question to companies, they go very quiet and they say yes, just the spam, and nothing serious has happened. Or even in our personal life, it's just the spam and or just some attempts of phishing attacks. But it is quite brilliant, and I'm sorry that it happened to your business, but it's good to hear that it is real. No, so the threat is definitely real. So I put in here the website from BBC and BBC News, because I mean this is just one example of all the different online websites that you can find. I mean, this is from the 14th of August. Blackmailers stole our Instagram account. Tea at the Ritz had credit card scammers, and this was on the 15th of August. Alexa, which is a really big issue, has been revealing voice records, and so on. No? I mean, I can go through all these examples.
Excuse me, Erica.
Yes.
Can you please share the link for this news?
Of course, all these links, I'm going to be sharing them towards the end, but I'm going to put this one right now here in the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
And I have lots of resources, so I'm glad to see that you are finding this quite useful. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That's fine. And I think this is really important. I mean, I'm so happy to have this group of participants, because the main problem that we have is that we don't take security as a real threat. We see it as something that happened to our neighbor or something that happened to a company that connected to this workshop. But it's real. I mean, you see news online every day. This is just an example. But there are lots of resources that can show you that now, right now, at this moment, in this minute, in this second, there are new attacks coming to different companies. And we're talking about distributed denial of service attacks, malware, etc., etc. Okay? So awareness is very important. So if you can create awareness to your company, to your employers, to your employees, to your family. I mean, we have talked about our identity being stolen. it is really important. Now, I'm not saying let's create panic and we don't trust anybody anymore. No, but we can learn then how to protect, and that's quite important to support us in cybersecurity. Okay. In terms of businesses, and again, I will share this document with you. This was created precisely by the government, the National Security Agency or National Cybersecurity Center from the UK. And so you can see this is from cybersecurity breaches in 2020, so the first months of this year. So cyber attacks have become more frequent. So 46% of micro and small businesses identified breaches or attacks. This is compared to 32% and 22% in 2017. So we have seen more attacks. This, of course, the nature of the cyber attacks has evolved, and we would talk a little bit more about this in the next three days, or in these 3 days. So phishing, as you could see from everybody's chat contribution, the majority of them have been phishing attacks, 86% of you, versus 71% in 2017. 24% were impersonated. 80% only is malware. That has gone down a lot, and so on. No, so I can go through the whole element, the whole information in here. I will share it with you. But as you can see, it is real. It's very important that we know that it is a problem. It is an issue. Okay. Yes, who knew that Nigeria had so many princes? And the interesting thing is that we still see it. You still receive those emails. I think last month I received one with the same nature. No? So it means that people are still falling into that situation, and therefore awareness is still not there. Okay, so we need to make sure that is there. So again, I will share this with you. Okay. Now, when people ask me cybersecurity in the times of Brexit, so Erika, is it really going to change when we go into this new world of Brexit and the UK goes out of Europe? Well, the reality is that we're going to see the impact in these aspects that I put within the presentation. So there's going to be new regulations, but more importantly, in the sense that it means that we're going to be dealing with other countries. So that means that we have to adapt somebody else's regulations. Before or right now, we still have a saying on the rules and regulations that impact our cybersecurity. We can still say, no, wait, we shouldn't be putting this into this European Union regulation because it affects the UK business in this sense. But when Brexit happens, which hopefully is this year or by the end of this year, I don't know, then that's it. We don't have a saying anymore. And if we want to continue doing business with the European Union, then it means that we're going to have to adopt whatever they are defining as the rules to follow for cybersecurity. Okay. We might want to create new regulations because we want to protect our companies, so we can define those. The good thing of Brexit is that we are opening our market to do business with many different companies, and sorry, not companies, many different countries. So we are looking now into China, we're looking into the US, we're looking into Mexico, believe it or not, as well. So that means that we need to define as well how we're going to be doing this business, but also how are we going to protect our systems and how cybersecurity is going to be taken care of. Yeah. So right now, the European Union, including the UK and many other countries, work together to make sure that we are safe from the cybersecurity point of view. So if somebody is attacking a country or a company that is within the UK, it means that the UK can approach the different European Union countries and ask them for support to identify who is doing it and so on. That is not going to change. That cannot stop. Yeah. But what's going to change is the way that we do it, the way that we approach it, and the rules that are going to happen. We will talk more about this in the next couple of days. Okay. Because I know that this is quite important for your business. Okay. The most important thing in here then means that you need to be aware of these regulations. You need to know what exactly is the European Union asking us that we need to follow in order to be able to do business with other companies in the European Union, in the US, in China. Okay. Just as you do when you are finding out, okay, in terms of finance, I need to follow this specific protocol and so on. Well, in terms of if you're connecting to systems, one in Europe and one in the UK, so what are the requirements to make sure that those two systems are being safe, kept safe? Okay. If you're sending emails, what is the etiquette to send emails between these two companies? Okay. So we are going to talk about those things. And something that we are living right now. No, this workshop was supposed to be happening in person, and it changed COVID-19 the way that we are doing it. So if you remember, I mean, it seems like as if it was yesterday, or maybe we feel now, or we see it as the normal, but it has been 6 months. We have been in lockdown almost for 6 months. But at the beginning, it was pure and total panic. Companies all of a sudden, and maybe you were in that situation, companies all of a sudden, well, were told, I'm sorry, but you cannot go to the office anymore. You have to work from home. And from the security or cybersecurity point of view, that meant a whole new situation that perhaps many companies were not ready to deal with. And they were acting in terms of panic or because of panic. No, so now somebody is connecting from home. Is it safe for them to connect from home? What can we do in order for them to make sure that we are keeping it safe? And as I said, many businesses were not ready. I'm hoping that after 6 months, this has changed. The reality is that many companies still lack resources. They lack the understanding of cybersecurity and what they need to do. And so working from home is still very much an issue that is opening doors towards companies' resources. Yeah, because now your employees are using their own computers to connect to your intranet or to connect to your resources. And that means that whatever they are using, if their computer gets infected, then that might transfer into your computer. Yeah. But also has opened, so it says we are all sorry, I'm checking the chat, and we are all network at home with you. What risk have we now? And that's a very good question. So it means that I can share files with you through the chat, and anybody can share files with you through the chat. We trust each other. Yes, we are assuming that whomever is sending something, the link that I sent from the BBC is secure. But who can guarantee that? If you click, you're going to click it because Erika sent it or because some participant in there sent it. But it might take you to some place that is not appropriate. Okay. If you remember when all this started, one of the big winners in here was Zoom. All of a sudden, everybody was talking about Zoom. It was the first time that I heard Zoom when this thing started. Leo, it's saying that's scary. What if a hacker is among us right now? Well, just don't click on the links. I promise you, my links are safe, and I'm sure we are safe because I have your names. So we should be fine. But if you remember when Zoom started, everybody was using Zoom, and it was free, and we were so relieved that we had a free platform that we could use to have these type of meetings. But then a lot of cyber security issues started to happen with Zoom, that hackers were taking over the session. For example, in this case, you can share your screens. Please do not do it. But you could share your screen and you can hijack the session, but mainly would be showing improper information, sharing improper files. My son, he was having his Mandarin session with school, and all of a sudden they hijacked the session and start showing improper images, you know, and so the teacher had to shut it down. Okay, so those new threats started to appear, no, and a good example would be this one. Have you heard of deep fake? If you could mention
Never.
it.
First time.
First time that you're hearing about that one. Okay.
Yeah, deepfake for the very first time.
So I'm going to show just the first part of this video very quickly. So what do you think? Is this real? Can
We
you
can't
say?
hear anything.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Now, it has some rude elements towards the end. I mean, rude words. I do apologize, but it was a good example for me to. I mean, it's not that serious. Don't worry. But I'm sharing it through the chat, the link, so you can see the video later on. But if you see this image, I mean, you cannot hear the audio. But just from the image, what do you think? Is this real? Do you think this is President Obama? Let me see if I put my speakers.
Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet. It's a time when we need to rely on trusted news sources.
The voice is a little bit strange.
How?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, and thank you very much. Sorry, hopefully you can have me back in the microphone. So yes, the voice sounds a little bit off, but if you look just at the video, it looks quite real. So these type of things have been around for ages. It's not new deep fakes, but they have become more and more relevant because we are conducting ourselves now more online. We're doing everything online. So we rely on the information that is traveling online. So new threats are coming up, and this is just one example, no? But we will see later on that COVID-19 and not the virus itself, but the fact that we had to move to living our lives online has created new threats, no? And that's a big issue. So I'm very conscious of the time, and I know that we still have lots of things to go over, but I'm also very aware of you needing a break. So would you like to have a 5-minute break just to stretch your legs, and then we can carry on? Or shall I carry on?
Please carry on.
Yes. Okay, so if you feel the need to stand up and take a break, then by all means, you can go ahead. Yeah, but I will carry on because of the time. Thank you very much for the rest of you on the chat. Right, so what exactly are we protecting? And I think that this is quite obvious. So for ourselves, that we have two hats. We work in an organization, but we also lead a personal life. We try to protect two things: personal data, and we try to protect as well, of course, organizational data. The issue is that many people see them as two separate things. Oh no, I'm just going to focus on protecting my personal data, and that's it. And I'm just going to focus on protecting my organizational data, and that's it. But the reality is that if you don't protect one, then you're putting the other one at risk because they are linked. Okay. Now, in terms of personal data, we are talking about two identities. And when the internet arrived and when technology started, we started to create two identities for ourselves. The identity that we present offline, that's when we go to the bank directly or when we go to the office to work, when we are physically there, when we perform something physically. But we also started to create our identity online. And sometimes they are actually different in the sense that some things that we wouldn't do offline, we start doing online. So think about in terms of your social media activity. If you start sharing everything, yes, today, I mean, when Facebook started, it was interesting to see how many people were sharing what they were eating, and I think they're still doing it, or that they went to a specific place, or what the cat is doing, or the dog is doing, etc. So before COVID-19, we were relying a lot in our offline identity because we could go to the office and work from there and make sure that our identity was seen. But since we moved to work online, we started to rely more on our online identity, and our personal data now is online. So what do we mean by personal data? So your medical data, you know, I'm sure that some of you can book appointments with your GP online, and actually some GPs are doing Zoom sessions for for treatment. Yeah, and your medical records are stored online. You know, we saw the NHS; they have their databases. Everything is online. Your employment information, although that is relevant to your organizational data as well, but it's your personal data in terms of your employment. That one is also online. Your identity, so who you are, date of birth, place of birth, your address, etc. All of that is online. Educational data, financial data, etc. Okay. All of this data is stored, as I said, online. If you want to keep the benefit of you doing your online banking, because it's very, very easy to do online banking, then you have to understand the risk that your data is stored online. Okay, and that you have to understand the risk that if that specific bank is not taking appropriate measures to secure your data, then that data at some point is going to be in danger. Okay, and the same happens for the rest of your data. Now, why do you think your personal data is a target? Why do hackers want to obtain your name or the name of your cat or your photos that you publish in Facebook? Why do you think hackers are interested on that? If you could use a chat, that would be great. Or if you want to unmute yourselves and contribute, that would be great as well.
I think one of the reasons might be that they can use our data to get profits.
To get, sorry?
To make some money.
To make money, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Gerard and Will actually came up with a very good reason to steal your identity, or because they want to sell your data, as you said, they just want to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very good, that's actually the main reason, you know, what criminals want to do. Sorry, if you could mute your microphone, because I think we're having a lot of background noise. Thank you very much. So criminals are after your online identity. And the reason why they are after your online identity is precisely because they want to steal your online identity. So you might say, well, what is the problem if somebody knows my date of birth? What is the problem if somebody knows my name? And what is the problem if somebody knows my address? Well, what are the minimum requirements that somebody needs to open a bank account on your name? An online bank account. They just need your name, they just need your date of birth, they just need your address and an email address. So as long as the first three are correct, because that's what the bank institutions are going to check, but then they have access to the fourth one, which is an online email account, then they can create a bank account under your name and they can start using that one. And at the end of the day, that is going to go to you. Yeah. It is used as a security question, exactly. When you call your banks or when you call HMRC, the first thing that they're going to ask you is, can you confirm your full name and your date of birth? Yeah, and then they start asking you the security questions. What is the name of your cat? What is the name of your husband or your partner? What is the first name of your kids? Yeah, and what happens if you put all that information on social media? You are providing that information to the hackers. In terms of a company, if they manage to get that information from one of your employees, then that means that they can use that information to get access then into the company itself, because you also, as a company, what you do in order to check the identity of your employees is, what is your full name, what is your date of birth, and can you confirm your address. And that's what we do online. We're very trustworthy, okay? In terms of organizational data, this becomes, of course, quite, I mean, there is more loss for a company because we have the details of all our personnel or members of staff. We have all our intellectual property or intellectual data stored online. Financial information, not only access to accounts, but corporate accounts, and so on. And of course, physical objects, no? And by that, I mean servers, I mean your networks, and everything else, databases that is storing itself the information for your company. So as I said before, these two are very linked, connected. If one of your employees is hacked, then you have to worry, and they would have to disclose it because it might affect your company. So Rowena says, I know someone who shared her passport page on Facebook, and I was horrified and warned her to delete it. And yes, no, definitely. Even innocent things as photographs. Yeah, there are very good demos, online demos, that show you that even the photograph, that the innocent picture that you put of yourself playing outside your house, even though it doesn't show your street name, it doesn't show your street address, the photo has location information. And that information can be extracted from the photo itself, from the digital file, and hackers can use it to know your address. Yeah, so that's why it's very important. So even obvious things that, innocent things that you might believe are innocent, think twice before publishing them. Yeah, or just, I mean, I know that as companies, we want to have a social media presence, so that's fine. But be careful to what you do and what you publish. So make sure that you are not saying more than that could open the doors. And we will talk about how to protect yourselves as well from that. I mean, it is quite obvious why organizational data is a target. They want to steal or leak information, our competitors perhaps. They want to stop our services. No, maybe again our competitors. They just don't want us to carry on with business. Maybe because they just want to make a point. Yeah, your company is against the beliefs of a specific group of people, so they just want to make a point. Or the most worrying one, somebody wants to make a point that they know how to hack, and they choose you as an example, or they choose your company because they know that your company is not secure. The most important one, money, as some of you have said, and it's driven usually by purpose. It depends on what they want to do, by hacktivism, idealism, or political motives. No? So every single company is a target. You might say, well, my company is not that important in the sense that I don't hold any secrets that could be used to harm or to cause a lot of harm. But your resources of your company, and by resources I mean your physical resources, your computers, your databases, your hardware, are very important for hackers, because if they get access to your computer, then they can use your computer to then go after a bigger fish. Yeah, hackers need resources. They need CPU, or they need processing power. They need storage, and so on. So the best way of doing it, instead of buying their own resources, is find a vulnerable computer, get control of that computer, your computer, my computer, and use it to attack somebody else. Yeah. And if at some point they investigate the attack, it's going to lead them to your computer. So that's why it is important. Maybe you are not the target, but somebody else is. Okay. And from a business point of view, the impact is quite severe. No, your reputation is ruined. We have seen Barclays, Sky, many different companies that had been attacked, Virgin, and now you think twice before you use the companies. They suffer from vandalism, theft, they lose money. That's at the end of the day the main issue, and of course the second issue, intellectual property. Yeah, so that's why right now businesses are being quite careful with these Chinese companies like Huawei, where they say, well, it's just that maybe they are trying to get private information from the UK and so on, but it's just to make sure that you have the proper security elements in place. Yeah. Any questions so far? I know I'm talking too much, but hopefully you're finding this information useful.
Excuse me, Erica.
Yes.
I just saw vandalism. How could vandalism happen?
If they change your website,
Yeah.
they could. Defacing your website, and it has happened for many different companies, where let's say that you sell shoes, and they change the front page of your website, and now instead of saying we sell shoes, they say long live Trump. I mean, I'm just putting an example. I'm not pro-Trump or anything like that. So it's just to cause harm to your devices or to your websites and so on. Destroy information. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
That's fine. I mean, if you think about it, the good example that we had about this company that was attacked, it meant because they destroyed one part of the company, that's vandalism, then it meant that they had shut down the business to solve the problem. And shutting down the business means losing money. So that is an effect of vandalism. Okay. Any other questions? I mean, as I said, feel free to use the chat if there is anything else that you might want to ask. Okay. Now, who is attacking us? Well, there are many different people that want to attack. And this is the actual classification that you can have. And the main problem in here is that we usually protect from this element of the outsiders. So basically people that are outside our company that we see as the organized attackers, cyber criminal, hacktivists, or the gray hackers, black hackers, or the amateurs that are just learning how to hack and they are using your computer, but all of them are outside. And most of the security that we provide within a company focuses on outsiders. But the reality is that the majority of the attacks also come from insiders, people that are already within your company. It can be employees or ex-employees that are already, I mean, they are the easiest ones because they already have access to your system. They don't have to go through hacking your website and hacking your network because they already have access to your network. So the only thing that they need to do is to deploy the attack. Okay. And as I said, the majority of the cybersecurity controls or mechanisms to protect from the outside, and they don't focus on the inside. Now, insiders are not only your employees and your ex-employees, are also your trusted partners. So talking about in terms of Brexit, at some point, and hopefully you will do business with companies in Europe, they will become your partners. They will become part of your inside company, or you see them as part of your insiders. So can you actually trust them, and what can you do to make sure that nothing else happens? Okay, you can have contractor staff. If you are hiring third-party services and so on, they are part of your inside circle, and you don't see them as a threat, but in reality that you still need to protect them. Okay, but mainly the cyber attacker is somebody that wants to get access to your information for all the different reasons that we saw before, to steal money and to steal your secrets so that they can sell it later on. No, between Apple and Microsoft and so on, they are stealing information. So the Vika has a question. So can this happen via contact forms on a website? So yes, I mean, it depends, of course, on the type of technology that you have within your form, but it can definitely happen. A type of attack could be SQL injection. Yeah, if you don't have the proper security mechanisms to protect that form, then somebody can inject information into your database, and that will give them access then to your system. Yeah, that's quite technical. But yeah, a simple answer to your question is yes, that it can happen via contact forms on a website. Okay. Now the important thing, and again, this is
Erica. Excuse me. Can please go to the previous slide? Yeah, here. Yeah, that's right. I see state-sponsored. Can you please give us some examples about state-sponsored cyber attackers?
Of course. So you can think in terms of Russia. I mean, and I'm not trying to pinpoint any countries. It's just the most common examples. But Russia or Iran or China, they hire hackers to attack infrastructure in other countries that are very important for the state security of the country. Yeah, so a big example of this was, I forgot the name, I'm so sorry, but let's say that there is a nuclear power plant in a country. Yeah, common hackers, they wouldn't see it as a target, but if a country decides to attack that because it makes the country weak or it provokes a weakness in another country, then they will hire somebody to do it. So it has political purposes. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's.
But as an individual, how could we avoid it?
I mean, hopefully, if your company doesn't have any deals with government, then you should be fine. You shouldn't be a target of state-sponsored attacks. Yeah.
Okay.
But if your company is having dealings with a government, then it puts you in a different view, or you have a new profile of cyber attackers focusing on you. Now, you asked a very important questions. How can we protect? The good thing of the things that we're going to find out in these 3 days is that if you implement that security, it will protect you from cyber criminals, hacktivists, and state-sponsored attackers, because they all use the same ways of attacking you. It's just that they have a different purpose.
Okay. Okay, Erica,
Yes.
thank you. But about hackers, there are 3 categories:
Yes.
black hats, gray hats, white hats. What do you mean? I don't understand.
No, and that's an excellent question. And yes, thank you very much. So black hackers, it's an attacker that has as purpose to damage your company or damage your personal data. Okay, so their purpose is to cause harm, and that harm could be to steal money or to steal your identity or whatever we mentioned before. But the thing is that they have bad intentions. Okay.
Yeah.
The other one is the white hats, and this comes from you know, the Western. The white hat is good, the black hat is bad. So the white hats, they are considered hackers, but they have good intentions. They do it with the purpose of helping your company to understand what is the weakness of your company. Yeah. Usually you hire those type of hackers so they can test your systems and they can pinpoint and tell you, you know what, you need to secure these elements. Yeah. So we see the difference between black hat and white hat. The black.
What about the gray hats?
The gray hat, as the name implies, is something in the middle. So I'm going to put you an example. Some companies like Microsoft, they have a treasure hunts, in the sense that they ask members of the public to find vulnerabilities in the system. Now, it could be that you start doing that analysis as a hacker, but you were not given permission to do so. So maybe let me put you another example. Let's say you invite somebody to your house, and that person connects to your network and starts checking for vulnerabilities in your network. It can be that it's a black hat, or it can be that it's a white hat. You didn't give him permission to do it, but he's not doing it with bad intentions because it hasn't done anything wrong. It is gray because it still hasn't said what is his intention.
Okay.
Yeah? Usually you expect that gray hats will find the vulnerability and then will tell you, but they will start finding the vulnerability without asking you for permission.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. So the main difference between white hat and gray hat is that from the beginning, before they start hacking, the white hat has your permission. You told them, yes, you can do it. But the gray hat, they start doing it without your permission, and then they disclose that you have an issue.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I went through the long explanation of that one, but is it clear now?
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. No, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if there are any other questions, please do let me know. So as I said before, then the good thing is that all of these hackers, they will follow the same process. They follow the same techniques. They follow exactly the same process, which means that if we guarantee that we have a minimum set of protection, then we can protect regardless of what they are trying to do. Okay. So, I'm gonna show you a set of questions. You can please provide me your answers on the chat. And this is just to understand your own risky behavior online. Now, it's not Kahoot, it's a form, which hopefully you can see now. Okay, so I'm gonna go question by question. What I want you to do is to put on the chat. So for question 1, if you could tell me what kind of information do you share with social media sites? Is it A, everything, B, articles, C, it depends, or D, nothing? If you can put that on the chat, A, B, C, or D. Okay, so C, A, D. Ah, we have an A, everything. It depends. Articles and news I find or read. Okay, so the majority of you are going towards A, B, and C. Catherine is going towards D, Irene is going towards D, Clems is B. So this is your own analysis, and I think it's really important. So from the start, if you're answering A, B, or C, then I can tell you that your online behavior is risky. Yeah, exactly, Rowena. Congratulations to those who answered D. Okay. A is the most risky ones for sure. B, although I know it's, as I said before, it sounds very innocent. It's just articles and news I find and I want to share. You're giving away things. Okay. It depends. Well, it depends on your filtering as well. You're still sharing information. Yeah, so that might put you at risk. So for question 2, we have now A, B, C, and D and E. When you create a new account in an online service, what do you do? And I think this microphone is not working anymore, so I'm gonna remove this one. So we have D, create a new password that is similar. A, reuse the same password, okay. E, create an entirely new strong password. E, okay, so we have lots of E's. How does the shared info affect B? Create a password that is easy as possible so you can remember it. Is that, you're referring to this question, Clems?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Now, I was referring to the choice of sharing articles and information. Okay. Yeah, how does it affect, person B?
Because you're sharing your interests. So let's say that you are a very keen sports enthusiast and you're sharing information about the cars that you like or the sports that you like, then hackers could use that information to try to guess your passwords because there is some certainty that your passwords use that kind of information. Yeah, so it doesn't put you at the same risk as the people that selected A, but it does put some element of risk. Yeah. Thank you. All right, so this second one, I mean, I'm very thankful because you're being quite...
Okay, excuse me, sorry to interrupt you, but I want to continue the question by Clemens because sometimes I share articles and news online, but my password, I mean, I create password without any related to the articles and news I shared. So
yeah, that's
will
fine.
that be okay?
Yes, as long as you know that you're not using that information to create your passwords or that your security relies on that, then that's fine. I think here is just to make you aware that be careful to the type of articles and news that you share.
Okay, yeah. Okay, no, I'm relieved. Thank you.
That's fine. So going back to the password, to question number 2, I mean, as I said, I'm very happy to see that most of you are being honest to yourselves and saying I'm choosing A, B, C, and D. So as you can imagine, if you chose A, that makes you quite vulnerable because you're reusing the same password. So if somebody finds out about that password, then it means that they have access to the rest of your systems or your services, okay? So the ideal would be to create an entirely new strong password. We will talk about this in more detail because I understand it's so difficult to have a different password for every single website or service that you are accessing. But there are tools that allow you to maintain this, okay? Now, create a new password that is similar to but different from. Again, hackers are very relentless. So they will use the first password that they found out, and they will try every single combination that they can think of, okay? And that will give them access to your system. So try to avoid A, B, C, and D. No, sorry, C is also a good answer. Create a very complex, well, actually I will see it as a risk, C, sorry. Why do you think C is a risk? Create a very complex password and store it in a password manager service.
Because if somebody cracked your password manager service, that person will know everything about you.
Yes, and it's exactly. Although, to be honest, the password manager services would be something that I would recommend you to use. They are very, very useful. But the problem is that you have to make sure is that that password that protects all the rest of your passwords, as the Vika mentions, is secure. Now, creating very complex passwords mean that you will rely a lot on your password manager. And therefore, if you need, it happens to me a lot that I'm giving access to my students to a service and I forgot my password, and I know it because it's very complex and it's stored in the password manager, so I have to log into the password manager and then put the password. That already is creating a security issue, okay? Depends if you have to factor authentication. That's very good, Matthew. There have been occasions where manager service have been hacked. Yeah, LastPass was hacked, but the good thing is that they didn't actually get access to the passwords themselves, just to the accounts. So that was good. No? Now, when you receive an email with links to other sites, what do you do? A, B, C, or D? We have A, you do not click. D, you hover to verify the destination before clicking. Okay, so I see a lot of A's and D's, a bit of C's. You click all links if the email came from a person you know. And for that one, be very careful. Make sure that it is coming from a person that you know. For example, a student that had a lot of time in his hands decided to start sending emails to all the members of staff in the university on our school, coming from my line manager. No, so the subject was very important. Erica, please read, and it was addressed to me, and it had a link. And only because I saw it is coming from my line manager, I was 1 second away from clicking on it. So think before you click and check the actual email address, no? Because as you know now, the email clients display just the name. They don't give you the email address. So make sure that you check the email address and it's actually the email address of the person that you know. No? You click the links because the email has already scanned the email. Don't trust your email service provider to scan the email. Okay. My suggestion is do not click the link. So a very common one is from your banks, and your bank is telling you your account has been hacked. So please click here so you can reset your passwords.
don't click on the link. Go directly to your bank's website and check that everything is okay. Because it can be that it is a valid email. It could be that your account has been hacked, but it could be that it isn't. So don't click on the link, just open the link or open the link that you know is the correct one, okay? Is there a website where you can check the link to verify if it is secure or not? Yes, there is a list of, which is precisely what your scanner, your email scanner is using, of blacklisted URLs or websites. But the problem is that they are not quite often updated. So again, my suggestion is if it's coming from amazon.co.uk and it's telling you you bought something that you know that you didn't buy, then instead of clicking on the link, go to Amazon and check that you actually ordered it, okay? That's a very good question, Irene. Is checking if it is HTTPS enough? What do you guys think? Is it enough? Leo says no. Geoff says no. Not really. That's actually the answer, no. HTTPS doesn't guarantee that it is safe. Ola says no as well. Now, again, this is something that we're going to touch later, but if you check in here, hopefully you can see that when I put my mouse on top of the padlock, it says verified by AVG. That's actually my antivirus software telling me this is a proper HTTPS form. So when you click on it, you should see connection secure, and still you shouldn't trust it. Check the certificate. No, and again, we will see this in more detail later on. But you will have to learn how to check the certificates and make sure that it is coming from a proper entity, because anybody can create an HTTPS website. Yeah, so although you believe that you were secure with that HTTPS, it is a good sign because it says the information is being encrypted, but it doesn't get you there 100%. Okay? This has given me a very good idea on the type of things that I need to cover and focus on the next days. So let's go to question number 4. A pop-up window is displayed as you visit a website. It states your computer is at risk and you should download and install a program to make it safe. So what do you do? A, B, or C? And yes, Geoff, you're right. You can get HTTPS for free, a certificate for free. So the majority is saying C. Some of you are saying you inspect the pop-up windows and hover over the link to verify its identity. Okay, so yes, ignore the message would be the proper way of doing it. And we will talk about more about this in a few minutes. When you need to log into your financial institution's website to perform a task, what do you usually do? Enter your login information immediately, verify the URL. You don't use online banking. A, B, or C? Rowena, for the previous question, you said you disable pop-ups. That's very good, but sometimes that creates other issues. But yeah, that's very good. So for question 5, some of you say enter your login information immediately. You're looking at your bank. You typed hsbc.co.uk or whatever your bank is. You verify the URL. Okay. Brilliant. So for those who typed A, be very careful, because what hackers do is, let's say that your bank is HSBC, as you probably now know is mine. So I'm very clumsy with my fingers, and instead of typing hsbc.co.uk, it could be that I type hsbd.co.uk. I would expect that takes me to an incorrect website, but hackers are very tricky, and they can create a website on hsbd.co.uk that looks very similar to HSBC. There are tools that allow you to do that. So you typed it and you are very sure that that's your website, and you log in immediately. Okay, so that means that somebody got your information. Okay, your login details. Okay, you verify the URL, yes, so that would help to verify that it's the institution. But of course, the most secure one, the less risky, is you do not use online banking, and Cleanse is doing it, or any online financial services, which should be, but it's very convenient. That's and especially in COVID-19, it makes it quite easy. Another way is use phone banking, but make sure that you dial the correct number. Catherine, you have a question for me?
Yeah. When it comes to online banking, it just reminds me of my telephone banking. I mean, if I'm going to log into my financial institution like online banking, is it safer to use it on a laptop or a computer, or is it safer to use it on my phone?
There's going to be a question about this. It's not in terms of the type of device that you're using, it's the connection that you're using. So
it doesn't matter whether I'm using the online banking on the computer or on the tablet or on my cell phone. It's all about the connection, not the device.
Exactly. So if you're connecting on a cafe, on the internet connection of a coffee shop,
yeah,
the decision is, should I use the internet connection of the coffee shop, or should I use my 4G connection or 3G connection, or my cellular connection? For that one, usually you go for the 4G. You never use wireless. I mean, the best thing is never do online banking when you are outside your home or when you are outside your institution. Always try to use online banking on a network that you know is safe. But if you are outside and you have the choice of the coffee shop wireless or the 4G connection of your mobile phone, then use the 4G connection of your mobile phone. Yep, that one is more secure.
Yeah, but why? I don't understand. I mean, I'm aware of this. I'm aware.
It's different protocols, and it's so think about it in terms of a radio. So when we were using FM and AM, so wireless connection, the Wi-Fi, you can tune it by connecting to a specific channel, just as you do it with your radio.
Yeah.
And the thing with, well, let me go back. The thing is that for the coffee shop, anybody can connect.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody can connect. So if you are in the same network, then they can see your connection.
Yeah.
In the cellular network, although there are other people that are connecting, your service provider is making sure that your connection is secure.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, not all service providers do that, but 4G and 5G actually have encryption and actually have security. So they are trying to make sure that your connection is safe. And it's also more difficult to tune into a cellular connection. You need more specialized hardware to connect to a cellular network.
Yes, so it's so basically it's difficult for the hackers to get into the 3G or 4G network, but it's a lot easier for the hackers to get into the public Wi-Fi, like a coffee Wi-Fi.
Exactly, it's easier for them.
Yeah, I see. Thank you.
That's okay. Now I have very interesting questions in the chat. So first, Rowena says, if I log in using my browsing history instead of retyping the URL, is that safe? I mean, I'm going to sound very cynic, or not cynic, but perhaps panicky, and I forgot about the term itself. But I could be devil's advocate and tell you what happens if somebody hacked into your history, your browsing history, and changed the URL of your financial institution. I mean, I know that that sounds very going to the extremes, but it has happened, no? My suggestion is, yeah, you can still use your browsing history, but verify the URL, make sure that it is typed correctly, okay? Now, Angela, and I totally agree with you, and Angela says, I don't agree with the recommendation of not using online services as the world tends to go entirely online. So I think we should find the best solution to carry on, and that's precisely what we are here. When you go to companies and you provide the cybersecurity recommendations, you can tell them the easiest way that you can do, or the simplest solution if you want to be secure, disconnect yourself from the internet. Disconnect yourself. And that's it. You don't have any issues, although there are still some issues. But that means that you are losing a lot of opportunities. And as you rightfully say, Angela, then it means that you're moving not at the same pace as businesses are carrying themselves out. So I agree with you. On the contrary, it's not let's stop doing it, but let's try to find a way of doing it, but making sure that we're doing it safely. Okay. Online banking, I couldn't live without online banking. Yes, it is safer to do it going in person, but again, it shouldn't be stopped. Okay, doing it online. Leo mentions and says hackers can position themselves between you and the connection point. Yes, and we will talk about Wi-Fi in a minute. And I will check your questions, Erika, and I will send you the answers via email if that's okay. So thank you very much. Right, so let's go to number 6, and I think we only have 6 and 7 and 8. So just very quickly, you read about a program and decide to give it a try. This is a software program. You look around the internet and find a trial version. Do you download it and install it? So let's say for Zoom, did you install Zoom straight away as soon as somebody mentioned it to you? Yeah, so you should research more, you know, especially if it is in an unknown site, okay? Here would be do not download or install the program, but if it is something that you really want to try, the recommendation is that if you're very technical, I mean, if you're very good with IT systems, then create a virtual machine that you can use as a sandbox where you can install all that software and it doesn't affect your computer if it is an invalid program, okay? This one, we already mentioned it. You find a USB drive while you're working towards work. So what do you do with it? Yep, don't pick it up. I think in here the best thing to do is never plug it in to your devices. Even with an antivirus, it might be that it's a new threat, something that the antivirus doesn't recognize. So yeah, you can pick it up, but don't plug it in. Okay, be very careful with USB drives. And as a policy within your company, very careful to what you are doing with it, okay? Now you need to connect to the internet, and as Catherine was saying, you find an open Wi-Fi hotspot. So what do you do? Do you connect? Okay, some people are saying, yes, I connect, but I use a VPN. Okay. Okay, some people are saying don't connect. Connect it and use the internet. No, just one has mentioned it. Okay, so we will see. VPNs are a good solution. We will talk about them more next Wednesday. But again, be very careful on the Wi-Fi hotspot, on the use of the Wi-Fi hotspot. Yes, Catherine.
Yeah, is it true that connect to it and establish it with the VPN will be safer?
Your connection to your company will be safer, but your computer is still at risk. So the VPN, what it's doing is encrypting all your data that is going to be transferred from your computer to your company's computer.
Yeah.
But your computer itself is connected to that Wi-Fi hotspot. So it means that you are in a network and somebody can compromise your computer. Not your connection, but your computer.
Oh, I see. But the data I'm going to send to my company will be safe, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because I use VPN.
Yes, but at the end of the day, if you have essential information stored in your computer, then you are still putting your company at risk.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So again, this gives me a very good idea on how you live your online lives and the type of decisions that you make when you are doing your online business. And I still see some risky behavior, which again, it doesn't mean that that's it, you're going to be hacked once we finish this session. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that you still need to be a little bit more aware on things that you need to do to protect. So I want to go through 8 tips that we have already mentioned so far, but just to summarize the kind of things that you could do in order to protect yourselves, which is very important. And I would say share this with as many people as you know within your family and within your business, because that would make the battle against cyber attacks even better, no? Stronger, our case from cybersecurity. So tip number 1, don't share much information on social media. I know that as a company, as I said before, it is important that you have a social media presence, but be very careful to what you share. No? So for example, one company, they had monthly tournaments, bowling, and they saw it quite innocently to share via social media saying we're going bowling to this specific place, and we are so close together and we are such a nice company that we get together and organize these type of things. What hackers did is that, okay, they said, so you are going to this bowling company, I'm going to hack that bowling company to get access to the details of the people from your company that is going bowling, and then I can use that information to go online to your computer or your resources. Okay, so again, innocent information that you might not think it's risky. Just make sure that you're not providing more information than necessary. And reusing passwords is a bad practice, as we have said before. I'm not quite sure if you have seen this website before, the Have I Been Pwned? And I would say try it, and I will share with you my personal email address. Everybody has that email address, so it should be fine. So if you click Pwned, it says that my email address has been used in 3 breached sites, which means that, sorry, that's not what the one that I wanted to click on. Is this one in here, sorry. So that one, so it means that Café Press was hacked, and from Café Press, they managed to get my email address, my name, my password, my phone number, and my physical address, okay? Just because of that company. And the same for my Fitness Pal. If you are doing exercise because of COVID-19, then Be careful of using that application because they compromised email addresses, IP addresses, passwords, and usernames. And the same for Queen Street. Now, Queen Street, I have never used in my life. For some reason, they have my data. And from there, they managed to get date of birth, email address, etc., etc. Okay, so try your own email addresses. So I will share the URL in the chat. Not now. You can check it later on, with all the different email addresses that you might have. But that demonstrates the importance of using different usernames, perhaps using different passwords. If it is not necessary, don't use your real date of birth. Don't use your real physical address. It is not necessary, okay? So try to use something different. So it's a bad practice to reuse your passwords, because if from the first website that was hacked, if I'm using the same password for all the different passwords and I'm using the same email address, now they have access to everything, okay? Emails can be easily forged to look valid. I also have some examples from HMRC, and you have probably received this type of emails before. The government has taken urgent steps and so on, and you can get extra money because you're working from home. First of all, the government is not going to give you money for nothing, no? Unless it is a tax return, and you should know already the process that they follow. So in here is just check the email address and so on. And it's not only for email addresses, emails, but also for SMS. No, I have received, when COVID-19 started, lots of SMS messages saying, oh yes, this is the government and you are entitled to this amount of money because of the COVID-19 situation. And as I said, that's not valid. What you can do is open the URL that says there and check the information from there, but do not click on them, and especially do not call them. Yeah. So that's another one. So do not click any links. Do not accept any software. The moment that you're installing new software in your computer, you're giving them extra power in your computers. Yeah, so just ignore it, as we said before. So close the web browser, just don't ignore it, close the entire thing, and execute a check for updates and so on. So keep your computer up to date. And also malicious web pages, we have said, check the URL that is the correct one. Don't just start typing your login details. Make sure that it is the proper one. And we have mentioned this before, no, as well. Don't start any program. I mean, even I'm very wary of things from Microsoft. And as I said, because of COVID-19, people started sharing tips and saying you should install this because it allows you to work from home very nicely, or you should do this with this software because it's very good for keeping track of things. Just do more research before installing it. No, and once that you have lots of resources that are telling you that it's safe to install it, then download it from the proper website and install it. No, don't download any software from something that cannot be checked. And the final two, USBs, if you can move away from them as much as possible, then by all means. If not, then make sure that you have your antivirus or your malware detector updated. So before executing everything, the software checks that there's nothing wrong. But again, if it's something new, then you're putting your computer at risk. And finally, Wi-Fi hotspots, as we said, you can use your own computer, even you can use your phone to create a hotspot, and anybody can connect to the hotspot. So basically the idea there is, okay, well, then that means that my connection is insecure. Well, if you're using a VPN, your connection is going to be encrypted, so that's fine. But still, you are connected to a network where individuals could get access to your computer itself. So ideally, do not connect to hotspots. Better use your cellular network, although I'm not saying that one is 100% secure, but at least it is more safe. Okay. I mean, I know that we want to use hotspots for other things, but don't use them to connect to your company or online banking or any critically sensitive information. Don't use those ones. If you follow those recommendations, those are the minimal ones, then you are making sure that you're protecting your company. Okay. Now, I know in terms of time, we are very, very close to the end. And I'm just going to put this one in here. Now, I didn't finish the whole element information that I wanted to finish for today, but that's okay. It gave me a very good idea on the topics that I need to focus on for the next sessions. I'm very happy to see that the group is very interactive and very curious about cybersecurity, so that's very good. So please keep it coming. And now I have some last final questions. So what protection would you install on an iMac? I'm the first one to raise my hand and say I'm a horrible user of, I'm poor in cybersecurity because I use I use the free AVG, which is the antivirus, but there are many different paid ones that are very good. So my suggestion is use McAfee, which you can pay, or use a paid service for AVG. Okay. Kaspersky, I would be very hesitant because it was proven that they were using for other sort of things, malicious things, the information from Kaspersky. So McAfee would be a good option. The good thing about McAfee and AVG is that you can use it as well for your computer, your mobile phones, and so on. Now, Gerard, that takes me to, do you recommend free antivirus? I would say go for the paid one. For me, in my case, is because I'm a very cheap person and I don't like paying for antivirus. I never saw myself as a big target, but my suggestion is definitely for your business, use a paid antivirus. AVG is very good, the free version, but there are many things that they have escaped. I mean, touch wood, and hopefully you don't use this against me, but I have never been a target of any attack. I try to be very careful. Are mobile phones more susceptible to hacking than computers? It's the same situation as a Mac, because security was focusing on Windows, or attacks were focusing on Windows. People didn't pay that much attention to Macs. So security in Macs was very lack. Then hackers became very good at creating attacks for Macs. Then security focused on Macs. Now they have realized that the phone is now the new computer that we are using. So a lot of attacks are starting to appear for mobile devices. There is a debate of which one is better, Android or Apple. Both of them have exactly the same security issues. So it's more that Android, because it's more widely used, there are more attacks for Android, but it doesn't mean that it's more insecure. So my suggestion is if you can, also use an antivirus, especially to protect your businesses. How to encrypt using VPN? We can talk about VPNs in the next couple of days. But VPNs themselves are already encrypting information. So I can explain to you how VPNs work very, very quickly, so you can understand how they work. Very similar to HTTPS. You never realize that the information is being encrypted because you don't do anything, but actually the information is being encrypted on your behalf. Okay. So carrying on, thank you very much. On the contrary, Devika and Ola. How much can we rely on antivirus software as a protection from hacking attacks? It's just one level of protection. Now, having an antivirus is not just the only step to have. Antivirus, firewall, following all these tips that we mentioned as well, your own security awareness, keeping your updates for your operating system up to date, all of that should improve your security. Don't rely just on one element. And again, we will talk more in the next sessions. Copy of slides. Yes, of course, I will get in touch with the organizer so you can have the actual slides. But remember, we recorded the session, so this session is going to be made available for you as well. And finally, from Geoff, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. Both McAfee and Norton have suites that incorporate antivirus for computer tablets, etc. Yes, and from an annual payment. And my recommendation is go for it. AVG also has the same. If you have kids, if you have other members of your family, it's not just for you, because if you protect yourself but you don't protect them, then you're leaving yourself vulnerable. So try to protect every single device that you have available. And if question, how important programming is for a hacker. We have the two types of hackers. So I would say the best hackers that you can find online are very good at programming. But it doesn't mean that if you don't know how to program, you cannot be a hacker. Because you can find, I can show you, if you're very curious, on the last day, on Friday, there are many different tools online that you don't have to be an expert in technology to be able to deploy an attack. So you don't know how to program. But the best hackers are very good in programming, computer networks, and technology in general. They understand technology to the letter, which is the same case as ethical hackers, or the good hackers. Okay. In my experience of several main paid AV applications, they all massively impact computer performance and regularly crash. It makes you think about taking the risk of not using them. Do not take the risk. I know your operating system already comes with some antivirus and protection. So Windows has the cyber defense, I forgot the name, the security defense, so that's fine, use it, but don't risk it. Use something, especially for your companies, use something. Do not leave it to chance. I lost somebody and I do apologize. I clicked in the incorrect one. Okay. So I'm sorry, guys. I know that we spent a bit more of time in the session, but I think for me at least it was a very good session, very interactive. Although I know it's weird to say that when we are not seeing each other face to face. I do use AV for my company, but it drives me mad. Yes, I know. I understand, and that's the problem with security that we can discuss as well later. We don't. Companies and as individuals, I think as well, we try to avoid security because it is one more step. It's something else that I need to do in order to access something that should be quite simple. But we haven't got to that point where it's not as easy as we would like to. Okay. Can I invite my friend to join? I'm not quite sure about that one, Leo, because I know that this is organized by the Grow Hub, and I'm not quite sure if it is open to anybody. So I would need to check on that one. Thank you, guys. So it's good that you have find this useful. Just very quickly before you leave me, my email address is in here. So there it is, erica.sanchez@aru.ac.uk. As I said, I have now a very good idea of what I need to cover in the next couple of sessions. But if there is anything that you would like to hear a bit more, do send me an email and I will make sure that I will include it in the presentations. Okay, so next session is on Wednesday, same time, 10 a.m. Same link, well, or a different link that the organizer is going to send you at some point. Yes, I will check my spam, but thank you very much, guys, and I will see you next time. Take care.